All right, so now that the car runs, we can start working on some other things. My cousin was nice enough to lend me his welder, so I've got to go get some sheet metal sometime this week, hopefully, and start practicing a little bit of welding so I can start working on the car. I've still got stuff I've got to clean the car up where I've got to weld, but I've got the battery box. I've got this over here. I've got underneath on this side, underneath on that side, and kind of inside here a little bit. I've got both of the seats that I've got to figure out what I'm going to do as far as welding new brackets on so I can put the seats on. And then I've got this back, and I've got that. Oh, and I have this. Section 2. So, quite a bit of welding. So hopefully I get good at it. But I think for right now, what we're going to do is we're going to start working on taking this dash over, because I'm going to recover the dash. So that's going to be this big project. So we're going to work on taking this apart, getting this vinyl off. I'm assuming these rivets I'm just going to have to drill out is what I'll have to do. Yeah, that's what I will work on today for a little bit. All right, so we're just kind of piddling around today. So one of the things that I needed to fix was my driver's side door handle. The outside handle wouldn't open. I was able to get the right one, or the driver's side, but the passenger side I couldn't get. And the problem is that this little piece that slips on that ball wouldn't go low enough. So when you pull that handle, this goes down, but it wouldn't go low enough to disengage. So I have come up with a plan. So I bought some coupling nuts. It doesn't fit on there all that great, but I'm getting it on there. Because, I mean, all this does really is just thread into the plastic anyway. So I got that. And then I'm going to cut a little bit of this rod. And then put this on the end of the rod. And then put that in there. And put the other end of the rod in here. And hopefully that will lengthen it enough to be able to do it, because what was happening was I had to back this. Let's see if I can point to it. I had to back this out so far that it was barely in here, and it just wouldn't hold, and it ended up breaking the plastic, and that's why the zip tie is on there, is just to hold the plastic together. So now I can thread the rod all the way down to the end, and then have plenty to be able to adjust further if I need to. So that's the plan, and we'll see if that works. All right. There we go. So I guess we'll see if that fits in the car for one. And then also if that worked. Oh. All right, well, I guess I didn't hit record. So let's go through this again. So this is too long when I have this in. So when I go to activate the lever, the ball that goes into here is right about here, right about where that line is when the latch opens. So it's just too long by that distance, and then a little bit of play for the handle. So I think I'm going to try to shorten this. I'm going to see if I can cut this at all and shorten that, and then do it that way. Because I think this will work. It fits in there. It's all tight and everything. So I do think it'll work. But it's just a hair too long. So we've got to try to shorten it up in some way. Well, never mind. Because this now snapped right off of there. So, and apparently that's kind of a defect of it. So, looks like I need to get a new handle for that door. Crap. That sucks. But what can you do? So one of the things that I've wanted to do was the odometer wasn't working on the car. And these rings, they're in really bad shape. So I've wanted to fix the odometer, and a common problem is that the gears in here will strip, especially if the car's running and you're driving and you push this in, it tears up the gears. So I took this off. What I ended up having to do was I used a Dremel with just a little wheel. And let's see if I could find where I even did it. I think it was right there. I just kind of cut a little bit, enough for me to be able to get this underneath here and pry it up off of here. So this was sitting roughly kind of like this. And then, so it's sitting kind of like that. And then just enough that I can pry it up and get this off. This way, now I can sand this down and I can repaint it. And I'll have to do this with the other ones. And then I could get in here and I could look at my odometer and why it was not working. So what I did was I traced the mechanism. So here's where the speedometer cable goes in. That turns this, which in turn turns this, which in turn turns this. So turns this, which there's another gear which turns this, and then there's another gear behind here which turns this gear, and that then turns the odometer. So what I found was, I think this is the gear that breaks normally, but that looks like a brand new gear. So I'm thinking, once again, somebody was in here fixing it. And so what I did also was I marked with the black pen. You can see my black marks there. You can kind of see them there. And that way you could see if it was actually turning. Well, it was turning all the way up to this point, but this gear was not turning. And what it was, I think when they installed this gear, they pushed it back too far and it wasn't sitting in these tines right here. So my odometer was at 636 miles. It is now at 637. Now my trip meter isn't working. I'm not worried about that, really. But I'm trying to trace that right now. But that was what it was. So, like I said, it looks like a brand new gear. So I think they replaced it, but they just pushed it in too far, which means, once again, they try to take care of the car, but they don't do it right. So, that is the odometer. Okay, here are the rings. I put some of that rust stuff on them to kind of just clean up the rest of the rust that was on there, and then I'm just going to go ahead and hit them with some black. I was thinking of painting them red, but I pulled down the instrument cluster, and it's silver, so I just don't think the red would look very good, so I am going to just keep them black. And also, earlier in the video, I talked about, I'm doing my dash and all that stuff. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm doing a whole separate video just on the dash refurb. So just stay tuned for that. Whenever that gets done, I'll upload that one as well. But it's such a big project and there's so many steps that I figured I would just do a separate video strictly just for the dash. So that'll be coming up as well. Today, I got some metal. I got a mask. Oh, I got to put that other one out there to get that charged up. So, one mask here. It's an auto dimming mask, but it's solar powered, so I need to put that out in the sun to get that charged up. I am going to practice some welding today for the first time in my life. So we will try that and see how that goes. But I got the mask because apparently the research I did, this galvanized metal lets off some toxic fumes when you weld with it. So they recommended that you do it in a well-ventilated area, which I'll open up the garage doors, and that you wear a mask with it as well. So that's why I went ahead and got this. And then I can also use this when I go to paint the car as well. So twofer. But yeah, we're going to try practicing some welding today. We've got it set up. I grind it down so I could get some clean metal. So we're just going to practice and just tack welding because that's what I think I'm going to have to do with the 18 gauge since it's so thin. I think that's what I'll need to do, and hopefully, not get through it. So I've got the welder on the lowest setting that I can possibly have. So we will see how this does, and just waiting for that helmet to charge up, and then we'll do a test run, and I'll show you after I do just a little bit here. We'll see how it goes. All right, so we are all ready to start and try and welding. So I'm going to go ahead and get everything on and give it a shot. It's been charging, so I talked to my cousin. He said the mask probably a couple hours to let it charge to be safe. So it's been a couple hours, and we'll go ahead and try. All right, well, there's the first go around. Not horrible, not great, but we'll just keep trying. We'll just keep moving it further and further down and keep trying the best we can. Getting a little better. Just got to keep practicing. This isn't too bad right in here, but then I've just got a blank spot. And what I'm having a problem with is, first of all, it's hard to see with that. Even the auto dimming on, it's hard for me to see the crack, but once it builds up, this gets kind of black and everything, and so like this whole part right here I just missed. But getting a little better at it, so we will just keep practicing. So slowly but surely getting better. And this was my last one. I'm just going to take more practice. But we'll keep working on it. I think I'm done practicing for today. And we'll see if maybe these are dry. There's my gauges. My freshly painted ones right there. Those should be dry by now. Maybe we can put those back together. But yeah, the welding. So I couldn't wear my ventilation mask, which kind of stinks because it wouldn't fit underneath the helmet. So what I did was I just put a fan up next to where it was so it would blow all the fumes right out, and I could sit on the other side. Didn't really see any yellow smoke or anything coming up. Maybe it's because they clean the galvanized stuff off the metal before you weld, but yeah. And I think that's it for today for the welding. All right, well, here is one of them. Looks much nicer. Much, much nicer than that rusty old piece of. So it's a little bit of time and effort, and it was cleaned up real nice. The only problem I have is one, that little dot thing is missing there in the middle. And this one has such bad scratches in it. I don't know how you get scratches like that all over your speedometer, but I've tried to find new ones and I can't. So I'll just put these back on for now, I guess. I don't know. I'm waiting to hear if someone can send me new ones, but we'll just keep moving on forward. All 3 dials all put back together and looking much better. And can you find the hidden message? Schiller Shop.